manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin!
It's a Monday edition, a frenzy edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. The first day of the legal tampering period in the NFL has opened. The floodgates are now opened, and boy, is it a lot to follow. It's Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with you as always next 2 hours on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. We're live at Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. We got a split squad day between the Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals going on a little later today. We're going to be talking to the general manager of the Washington Nationals. Not this Mike Rizzo sitting next to me, but the other Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Washington Nationals. He'll be joining us at 4:40. We got a little Jonathan Zaslow at 5:20. We got a lot to break down, a lot to do, a lot of fun to be had next 2 hours on ESPN 106.3. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm there as well. Boy, you forget it about it every year, but if you don't have the Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter Twitter notifications enabled on your phone, that's the only way you can keep track of everything that is going on right now. It's the tampering period.
It is.
And this has been as, I guess, hectic of a news day on the NFL side than you could possibly imagine.
Colin, I did an hour of work, kind of production side-esque kind of work today, and by the time I was done, about 5 moves happened. Darnold was on the move. Justin Fields was on the move. A lot of big moves already made. And it's probably the best free agency in my eyes. I know a lot of NBA heads think NBA free agency is the best, but this is just the legal tampering time, and this stuff's already happening. A lot of big moves already made, and a lot of futures of organizations already being decided.
Well, futures of organizations, I guess most namely, has been what's going on with the quarterback position, but most importantly, it was a surprise over the weekend to see Geno Smith get shipped out of Seattle to the Las Vegas Raiders. And so he was shipped out, third rounder in return on that front. Seattle's all of a sudden in need of a quarterback, and they make the first splash, and quite frankly, probably the biggest splash of this free agency period, getting Sam Darnold, under contract for 3 years, $100 million, and about 55 of them guaranteed. So the Seattle's figured it out for at least the near future at the quarterback position. Geno Smith shipped out, going to the Las Vegas Raiders. And as you alluded to earlier, we got Justin Fields going to the New York Jets. I'm fascinated by the Seattle move, and you got to think, my personal opinion is I think Seattle hit this out of the park.
I do too, and I'm surprised Darnold didn't ask for more money. I'm surprised Sam didn't ask for more money. I thought he could have got more per year, overall guaranteed, and even throughout the duration of the contract, I thought maybe 150 along those lines. But I think it's a very team-friendly deal, and I'm a little surprised that the Vikings decided to move on so quickly from Darnold. Looks like it's J.J. McCarthy season.
Well, I'm sure the Vikings probably didn't want to give up the amount of years or even the money for that sense. It came out that Geno Smith actually was offered a similar contract by the Seattle Seahawks, and he declined it, and he wanted more money, and inevitably that led to a trade request and him getting shipped out to the Las Vegas Raiders. So because of that, this doesn't even tell you that that was their first move. Their first move coming in the offseason was not let's get Sam Darnold in here. It was let's get Geno Smith back under contract. Things change. Geno Smith probably wanted in the realm of $40 to $50 million, and they ship him out to Las Vegas and bring in Sam Darnold. Like you said, an extremely team-friendly deal. 55 of it guaranteed. It's basically a carbon copy of what Baker Mayfield signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a year ago. Love this signing. I think Darnold provides an upgraded. Think about it. Geno Smith is going to be 35 years old by the time we really get rolling next season.
Totally.
35 years old. You want him under contract for 3 years? I know how good Geno Smith has been and how that resurgence has been quite impressive, and they've won games with him. But think upside here. Think possibility here. Darnold's younger. He's experienced. He's worked with Clint Kubiak before as the new offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. It's a bit of a risk, but that's why it's team-friendly. They could get out of it in a year and a half time.
And we talk so much about situation. The reason Darnold was tremendously successful in Minnesota, it had a lot to do with Kevin O'Connell. Now he links back up with Kubiak. I think it's a great marriage. I think Darnold is going to have success. There's a lot of weapons on that team, too. I understand they got rid of...
slashed them.
I understand.
No Lockett, no Metcalf.
I understand they got rid of Metcalf, but Jackson Smith and Jigba is a great receiver. I'm assuming with the second-round pick they got for DK, the third-round pick that they got for Geno Smith, they're going to get now, there's no guarantees on a rookie receiver, Colin, but they're going to get a rookie receiver. They might maybe sign another receiver. I like what they've done. I think Seattle so far has won the offseason. It's very early with the legal tampering period just starting. But in my eyes, with what Seattle's been able to do, they get a second-round pick. I never thought they were going to get a second-round pick for DK Metcalf, and they did. Third-round pick for Geno Smith, and getting their quarterback for the next 3 years. I think it's a good move.
They're retooling.
All good moves.
Retooling. I agree with you.
And it's a team that went 10-7.
That's part of the reason why are you retooling, right? Is it necessary to retool? You're thinking about an upside there. Darnold's a 26-year-old by the time you're really going to get rolling next year, and is somebody who was wildly successful. People want to talk about the last two games? Fine. I mean, he was terrible against the Lions, and he was bad against the Rams, too. That's okay. I mean, if we're going to, forego and take a blind eye to the 16 games of pretty elite football that Sam Darnold put together last year, he's earned himself the contract. It's a team-friendly deal. He's making enough money. He's making $30-something million. He's got enough of it guaranteed. They could even get at it. If this doesn't work in a year or two time, they could draft somebody next year, and all of a sudden you have an out on that contract pretty easily.
Yep.
If it even comes to that. Or if it doesn't, boom, you got a bargain. So they're covering both bases here. And I give the Seattle credit. I think shipping off Geno Smith, you're selling high. And you get a pick out of it, and you get Darnold at a cheaper rate and a younger quarterback who's probably going to be a little bit more available. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, and I think it's firm handshakes around for Vegas and Seattle. Like, Vegas really had a quarterback. Vegas, how about this, Cal? You saw the Jets go out and get Justin Fields, in my opinion, because they're desperate. Vegas could have been in a similar situation, but they decided to do something about it and make a move, and they got Geno Smith. Geno Smith looks a whole lot, and listen, you know I'm a Justin Fields guy, being a Buckeye, but Geno Smith, that move looks a whole lot better than Justin Fields. Let's let the season play out. I understand that. But they could have been in a situation, a desperate situation, like all these teams are right now that need quarterbacks, and there's not a lot on the market. The biggest name is often Sam Darnold. Now, what do? If you're the Giants, you probably look towards the draft. But the point I'm trying to make is good move by Vegas, good move by Seattle, firm handshakes around, and I can't wait to see how the rest of this thing unfolds.
And this is not a knock on Geno. Geno has a career resurgence is the only way to put it. He has done outstanding with getting his career back on track and getting them to win games. He's got like 13 game-winning drives in the last 2 seasons. He's been a pretty clutch player, but I think it's sort of run its course. He's 34 years old. He's going to be 35 by the time you really get rolling next year. This is, all right, well, you've had success with us. We're happy to help you in the next step of your career, but we got a young coach. We got the youngest coach in the league, and we're looking kind of towards the future a little bit. We want to retool. And they got rid of Metcalf. They didn't want to pay him. They got rid of Geno. They didn't want to pay him top money. This is a team that is sort of operating in a block, operating in this year, next year, and the year after.
Do you want to give DK Metcalf a 5-year, $150 million contract? I don't. That's a lot of money, Colin.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a receiver who, listen, I'm not trying to nitpick DK, but, on the field, kind of a nuisance sometimes.
Well, they deal with that already with Pickens.
And Cal, 5-year, $150 million. I do not blame Seattle. The biggest thing, and sorry to cut you off there, the biggest thing for me with Sam Darnold.
He's better than Higgins.
You think so?
100%. Not even a question in my mind.
It's funny you say that because Kate Chumsland and I had that argument right here at Cacti Park on Friday. I'd take T. Higgins over him, but I understand the point. I think Higgins is a more well-rounded. I think DK is more of a vertical threat, but regardless, 5-year 150 is nuts for me for DK Metcalf, and I'm surprised that Sam Darnold didn't ask for more money. The real winner is Seattle. The real winner is Seattle for, in my opinion.
Darnold gets paid. He gets a contract. He gets some guarantees. He's got $100 million if he plays his cards right. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and sympathize with Sam Darnold.
Kyle, Geno wanted more money. I think Darnold's a better quarterback than Geno. Darnold, at this point in time, I know more. Nonetheless, kind of the same. And we'll see if he's able to do it without Kevin O'Connell. But you get the same caliber of quarterback with what, $40 million cheaper, $50 million cheaper?
That's why you do it. And Darnold wanted a deal to send him to a place that is not necessarily a ton of pressure, good with quarterbacks, a good fan base, a good home field. He's far away from New York as possible. This is not the riskiest move possible for either side for Darnold. You know, he doesn't want to be with like the Jets where, you know, he walks the wrong direction and it's in the front page of every paper. That's what I'm worried about more with Justin Fields. We're getting to that in a couple minutes.
Yep.
But, I mean, with Sam Darnold here, if you're the Seattle Seahawks and you get a young coach, you get a young defense, you got some young talent on that offense, at least a couple here and there, you got some money to play with, and now all of a sudden you got a quarterback under contract who is not a rookie, who is experienced, who's been there before, and he's also $30 million. This is why we looked at the Baker Mayfield contract as the ultimate bargain win-win situation in the world last year. If the Seattle Seahawks play their cards right, you're going to be saying the same thing about that contract. You're going to be saying the same thing about Sam Darnold and how the Seattle Seahawks have entered into their nirvana state of both sides paid. Sam Darnold paid. Seattle Seahawks can retool and play with other things and not be handicapped by one contract.
They could truly, and I understand their draft pick's not the highest, but they could truly draft for need in the draft. It's, you know, they could draft for their biggest defensive need. Now that you figured out the quarterback position, you could build you could build out your team, and that's really any team, right? All these teams that need quarterbacks, you got to start with 1A. Well, Geno was gone. There was the big question: were they maybe going to trade up for a quarterback? Or are they going to get a free agent? Now that Darnold is there and figured out, things are going to build out. Now, Colin, that division, a lot of teams are going to be locking horns in that NFC West. I think San Francisco will be better next year, pending injuries again. I think the Rams re-signing Stafford, they're going to be right there, probably winning 10 games again next year. I know that Josh Sweat went to Arizona. I'm not an Arizona guy, Colin, but I understand that they could win 8 or 9 games. It's going to be a tough division to win games in next year.
Absolutely.
Especially with what Seattle did so far in the tampering period.
I think this kind of fell into Seattle's lap a little bit. The initial plan was to get Geno back, per reports at least. It was, let's get Geno back, let's retool this, and let's kind of resend. But off of that, too much they were cognizant enough of what their position was and what their upside was. And we're not going to overpay for Geno Smith and be stuck, when he's 37 years old and he doesn't necessarily have the zip he used to.
Right.
Instead, you got a Sam Darnold as a younger option and somebody you could retool later down the line. I like them getting rid of DK too. You said it. If he wants $30 million a year and he doesn't necessarily want to be there, all right, see ya. Have a good time. I mean, like this Pittsburgh wants to pay you. I mean, I get it. I probably wouldn't pay you, but it's the best receiver on the market, so that's kind of the market he's demanding. And that's kind of the restrictions that they've put on themselves if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need offensive talent. They need, not want, they need more offensive talent, and you're going to pay the guy. It's going to be $30 million. It's going to be expensive, but what choice do they have? What choice do they have?
They rather, instead of drafting a receiver with a second-round pick,
Which
went out.
Which hasn't worked for them.
Yep, and they went out and got DK Metcalf, a proven commodity. I just really wonder about the contract and the money. But if Pittsburgh thinks that he's going to unlock the offense, fair play to him. I think the bigger thing there is quarterback, and I know we're going to get to that at a later subject with the Steelers, but I think all these teams that have made moves so far, in their minds, it's upgrading their team. And that's at the point we're at right now with the tampering period and free agency almost opening.
Yeah, you got a lot going on right now. The Washington Commanders just traded for Laramie Tunsil from the Houston Texans. They get a new offensive tackle in the mix there. They got Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle. You got a lot of guys bouncing around. The Patriots have been big spenders early. The Bears have made a couple splashes. Jacksonville's made a couple splashes. Teams with money have started to maneuver a little bit. And hitch their wagon to certain quarterbacks, players on top of that. We haven't heard anything with what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The New York Giants getting buzzed with a veteran, whether it be Russell Wilson or something like that, and maybe a draft. Justin Fields going to the New York Jets really quickly, and then we'll go to break here. But Justin Fields, I got to imagine, it's a team-friendly, it's cheap, it's an easy contract to stay in and stay out of. But, I mean, that is a disaster. That is a hurricane waiting to hit the MetLife Stadium in just a few months' time.
It's desperate. That's the one word
that is going
that
to
I
be
can come up with. It is
a mess.
Colin, that's why I said fair play to Las Vegas for going out and trading for at least what we think with Geno Smith is a proven commodity for the next 2 years. I mean, Justin Fields, we saw this with Pittsburgh last year. We saw this with the Bears. I love Justin. Honest to God, some of my favorite Buckeye years ever was with Fields. He's not an NFL quarterback. And I understand, like, there's not a lot on the market. The more of the Justin Fields signing tells me, I think the Jets are still, maybe you disagree with this, but I think the Jets are still in play for a rookie quarterback, have it beat
Absolutely.
Jackson Darter trading up. This isn't the final move of that quarterback room, but it just reeks of being desperate. That's the point that the Jets have put them in after the Rodgers thing failed. I understand it, but it's just desperate.
It's going to be another one of those years for the Jets. So gear up if you're a Jet fan, because you're going to be dealing with Justin Fields in the headlines week in and week out. Whether it's a boneheaded mistake or not being able to get it done or they keep losing games, people are going to be begging for him to get out of town in just about 10 months' time. I do not see this working in any sense.
What do you mean? He's with Garrett Wilson. They played together in college.
I don't see it working. We got the Jets making a move for Justin Fields. You got Sam Darnold going to be the new quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. We'll break down that and some more free agency action as first day of legal tampering period is now underway in the NFL. We got your general manager of the Washington Nationals, Mike Rizzo, joining at 4:40 live and in person from Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. A lot to do, a lot of fun to be had. 888-760-3776, number to get into the program. Biggest move so far, the biggest win in your eyes of this free agency period or the trading period, if you want to include Pittsburgh and Geno Smith in that sense too. Who had the biggest splash move? Let us know. 888-760-3776. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Mark your calendars. Baseball is back on March 27th. You've never seen an opening day like this before. It's Marlins baseball infused with a 305 to create opening day. South Florida legend Dan Marino kicks off the fiesta with a historic first pitch. Sandy Alcantara makes his long-awaited return to the mound. Plus, Luis Fonsi and Flo Rida are teaming up for an epic post-game concert. This is a can't-miss global event, and the whole world is invited. Get your tickets today at marlins.com/tickets.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-895-1414. That's 800-895-1414. 800-895-1414.
Hi, I'm Michael Manzo, owner and founder of Manzo's Italian Deli, and
Stop, Dad. After 20 years, people are tired of hearing your voice.
Yeah, and your lame-ass commercials.
Fresh prosciutto, mozzarella, outstanding.
Oh, please.
There's only one reason Manzo's is voted #1 deli in Palm Beach County for 20 years. Our mother.
She makes sure you prepare everything from scratch using only the freshest ingredients.
Manzo's Italian Deli is located on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, right next to Rain Dancers.
Is that a strip club?
No, it's a steakhouse. Manzo's is open weekdays from 8 to 5 and offers free delivery. So stop by or call 697-9411. That's 697-9411.
We also specialize in hot and cold catering for corporate functions and special events.
Just ask anyone who was at my last birthday party.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Expertly produced back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. It's Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, with you live on site at Cacti Park at the Palm Beaches. It's essentially a tornado here. It is very windy outdoors in West Palm Beach today. You got a split squad matchup between the Washington Nationals and the Miami Marlins looming here in just a couple hours. We got general manager of the Washington Nationals, Mike Rizzo, joining us at 4:40. Got a packed program ahead, and it's the NFL free agency period with the first day of legal tampering underway. A lot of moves, a lot of big spenders early on. But I think a move that I think Mike and I are on the same page about is none other than Justin Fields to the New York Jets. 2 years, $40 million, 30 of it guaranteed. It's cheap. It works, I guess, for what they're trying to accomplish. It's safe. You're not necessarily going to be buried behind a big price tag. But this is not going to work.
No, and it's going to be about week 3, week 4, where rumblings that, should they put in the backup? Is Fields done? I know the headlines that I'm going to see from the New York Post and the New York media. And it goes to what I said last segment. They got to have another quarterback coming in there, either a rookie or a veteran. They're not done with that quarterback room. But when you're as desperate as New York, these are the things you have to do. You made a big splash when you got Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not sitting here shaming the Jets for getting Aaron Rodgers. It was the right move at the right time. It just sadly didn't work out. These are the steps you have to make to try to pick up the pieces and put the puzzle pieces together. It's a big quarterback draft next year, too. If you're a Jet fan, that's what I think you're looking forward to, is the quarterback draft next offseason. I understand that doesn't help.
Are they going to get? You just said last segment they're going to get a guy this year. What are they going to do, Mike?
Kyle, I know that it's not good news for Jets fans, and the regular season's probably going to be a rough one. But if you draft a guy, he's not the answer.
You're not getting a guy next year. Let's forget that. You're not getting a guy next year.
And you have Justin Fields. If you win 3 games next year, 4 games next year, Colin, you're going to be in position to get a quarterback in a quarterback-loaded draft. You could take a quarterback this year and a quarterback next year.
No, you can't.
No?
No. Unless he's a complete disgrace to the sport
disaster.
Of football.
It could be a disaster.
If he's that
Jets,
bad,
Colin.
if he's that bad, maybe. But
we're talking.
What is with pulling the plug this early? Can we not establish the fact that the Jets are going to go get 2 quarterbacks in the next 2 drafts, and after we just announced that they just signed a quarterback? Is that fair? I don't think that's fair to the Jets.
Maybe they go veteran and they have Fields and veteran.
So why go get a guy this year if he's going to stink and we're going to get a guy next year? Why do that?
To try to,
to what?
The more you try, the more the
so we're
better
volume
chances.
shooting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's the right way to run a team. That's the right way to run a team.
If you're looking for a quarterback,
that's not the right way to run a team.
If you're looking for a quarterback and these guys turn out to stink, you got to keep trying. You got to keep trying.
When has that been a good business model for NFL teams? Give me one example. Exactly. It hasn't. It doesn't work. You have to give these guys a couple. If you're going to draft a guy, all right, well, we're going to give you a couple years here. If the business model is the Packers' way and, sitting Mahomes for a year and letting these guys sit for a little bit.
Kyle, they could get a quarterback that's a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick, too, and put him at backup.
Are you under the impression that's going to happen?
Maybe they go out and get a Jalen Milroe if Milroe falls. I know quarterbacks.
If that team is going to be Justin Fields and Jalen Milroe, guys,
you're not signing up.
Throw.
You're not signing up. I think the Jets have long-term in
3rd,
mind.
4th round, maybe. Different conversation.
Listen,
They're not getting 2 first-round quarterbacks.
All right, I understand. Maybe I contradicted myself a bit. But there's definitely a plan for the future with the Jets, and obviously it's not Justin Fields. That's a bridge move. Now, the best case scenario, that kid lights it up next year, but Colin, you and I both know that's not going to happen. There is a future plan for the Jets, and I'm going to sit back and watch and see what it is because it's a heavy-loaded quarterback draft.
What do you think that shows as a brand-new team with a brand-new general manager and the brand-new coach? What type of confidence do you think that shows the fans? They got
to be realistic.
They're in year one.
Yeah.
This is going to be a process.
Correct.
Does that show you panic or poise if they draft the quarterback this year and draft the quarterback next year and sign Justin Fields this year? I mean, what does that tell you? Is that panic or poise?
Now it depends where they draft them though. If it's a third, fourth round pick,
okay. I'm under the impression they're going to get a first round quarterback. That's my impression.
Okay, I think
you would not against that?
I think it's the other team across the way, the Giants, but I understand the point.
I think they're both going to be.
If the Jets do that, you're right. They're not going to get a quarterback in next year's draft, but. Listen, let's let April play out, but the word on the town is that next year is the quarterback draft similar to last year.
Yeah, if that's the case, then don't draft one this year. All right? Well, we'll see you next year. Get a backup. Fine. Yeah, get a backup.
All right, go get Jackson Dart then. He's sitting there at 7. Go ahead, Jets.
That's what I'm saying. So
go get Dart.
It's not good business practice to waste all these first-round picks on a singular position when you got all these guys sitting there rotting on the depth chart. You can't play both of them. It's not going to happen.
It's what stinks for the Jets, for the Jet fan. I mean, talk about why do you think a first-round quarterback would have success? Look at the past couple of quarterbacks that they've done. I mean, the Zach Wilson thing was just – I honestly felt bad. That whole quarterback draft stunk now. It's not like the Jet fans sitting there going, oh, we should have taken this guy.
And they made Darnold look terrible too.
There's a lot of teams that have been in quarterback hell for a long time, and it's hard to find a team that's been more berated of quarterback talent than the New York Jets.
888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo. Biggest splash of the offseason, biggest spending teams of the offseason are teams like the Patriots being one of them, making a number of defensive players, Carlton Davis, Milton Williams being another one. They're paying Milton Williams, who's the defensive lineman from the Philadelphia Eagles, who had a great year, Super Bowl champion, paying him $26 million a year. He was initially slated to go to the Panthers, and they came in and swooped him. $26 million per year for Milton Williams. That's a little heavy for me. That's a little heavy. But some other moves that went on really quickly, though, defensively, is now that market, especially the defensive line market, is completely inflated. Max Crosby got re-signed. He's making top-tier money. And then Myles Garrett leapfrogging right after that.
Yeah.
So you got these guys who are making $40 million a year. Talk about oversaturating that market. I mean, the next guy that gets signed, Micah Parsons, the Dallas Cowboys can't be happy. The Cincinnati Bengals can't be happy.
Right.
You happy that Garrett's back with the Browns here? Seems a bit reluctant.
Listen, I'm never going to complain about having the best defensive player in the NFL, but to that point, Garrett probably has 2 more years of competing at that level. I thought it was a good chance for the Browns to reset, get a couple of first-round picks and rebuild, but turns out, Colin, that this front office and ownership wants to go for it. So let them go for it. I still don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, but I'll never complain about Myles Garrett being on the roster. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Is that fair? I guess it's
it seemed a little reluctant.
It's contradicting. It's definitely contradicting.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a good time. I was fine either way. It seemed like a good time to reset, get 2 first-round picks. I'm never going to complain about the best defensive player being on my team. I understand that there's still a lot of things that team has to work out. Offensive line, quarterback, receiver, still a ton of things to do.
Yeah, I think people, including us, overrate what it means when people say, I want to play for a winner, I want to contend, I want to be on a competing team. Because you got Max Crosby, who said that at the beginning of the offseason, I want to play for a winner. I want to make sure I'm competing for Super Bowls. He signs a contract to stay home with the Raiders, who are in no position to win games. Myles Garrett comes out, openly says, and does a whole media tour at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, saying, I want to play for a winner. I want to start contending for football games. I only have so many years left in my career. That is what I want to be doing.
And Kyle, forgive me for thinking that this isn't being sold on the vision that GM Andrew Berry sold them on and Spytech, the GM over there at the Raiders with Max Crosby. This is a money reason.
That's exactly the point I was getting to. They stuck around because money talks. DK Metcalf goes, I want to go south. I want warm weather and a stable quarterback room. So Pittsburgh, I wouldn't say that crosses any sort of box on either of those fronts. But because they're paying you $30 million, you suck it up and you put your name on that dotted line.
Yep.
So it goes to show that half of the time these guys don't even get what they want because it's all about the money. Who is willing to give you the biggest contract? And your agents and the people that represent you and even yourself are sitting there thinking, I have a chance to establish a market, set a market, or reestablish the top-paid player at the position. All of a sudden, all of those wishes and grants go right out the window.
Correct. And let's rewind to Watson. Remember, a lot of teams were in on Deshaun Watson, and all of a sudden the Browns had the worst contract in NFL history. All of a sudden he wanted to go to Cleveland. Money talks, guys. That's the biggest. It's the biggest thing we've learned over the last 10 years in the NFL. Money talks. And Myles Garrett getting the richest contract in NFL history outside of any quarterback. Do I think it's deserving? Absolutely. I just hope that he could continue to perform at that level for the next couple of years to come.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't worry too much about whether it's going to be worth it or not because, like you said, they're them going for it. You got 2-3 years to see if you could retool something.
It's kind of fool's gold, though. Like, for Max Crosby, Tom Brady's there. There's a new GM there. There seems to be hope there. I don't see that hope in Cleveland, but it's money. Let's not get it twisted. It is money, and fair play to those guys for getting very rich contracts. And like you said, the Micah Parsons of the world are licking their chops for their opportunity to get a deal done. And even the mid-level guy. Now the mid-level guy is going to get $80 million, say $90 million.
Absolutely. And the Dallas Cowboys are sitting there a little annoyed that all of a sudden Micah Parsons is $7 to $10 million more expensive yearly comparatively to what he was 2 weeks ago. The Cincinnati Bengals are sitting there thinking the same thing. Hold on, we had Jamar Chase for $30-something million a year ago, and now all of a sudden we're going to have to cough up $43 million per year just to establish that market as the highest-paid non-quarterback in the league.
To that point, DK Metcalf, you said $30 million, 5 years, $150. If DK Metcalf is getting that money, Jamar Chase is looking for an astronomical amount. And now it's not surprising. How about Cincinnati, right? They let Trey Hendrickson seek a trade. Maybe they knew that something was getting figured out with Garrett. Maybe they knew that something was getting figured out with Max Crosby and that market was going to be reset. Hendrickson's going to want a ton of money.
I don't even know if they wanted to pay him at the previous market. Now definitely they're not paying him at the current market because that guy's 31 years old. And it's somebody who's had a lot of success for them, but I wouldn't necessarily call it the right move for them currently to – they can't afford it. That's the bottom line. They cannot afford it. So, there's teams that are playing savvy, and then there's the teams that kind of just throw money in every direction and see if it works. But in terms of the top tier guys that have been signed, the Max Crosbys, would I say that's worth it? Probably. Would I say the Myles Garrett contract is worth it? I think $40 million for that is for what they are and what they're trying to be. Probably a couple steps behind, like Mike said, where the Raiders are. But so a tricky spot there. But you're sitting there looking at the Patriots, who are throwing money left and right, $26 million a year.
Now
Milton Williams.
The last time we were together, you talked about the Patriots and how much money they've had.
Yeah.
You're not.
So no, I'm okay. Listen, they have the money for it, but that's kind of what it's almost like you got too much to splurge. It's like Monopoly money. You get too much to splurge on.
Right.
And so we'll see if any of that works. Couple other things.
And they're building a culture there, too, in New England. They're trying to find their guys.
Yes. They got Elliott Wolf sitting there. They got Vrabel in there. That's a team that can be creative. They're putting themselves in a position where when they draft in the first round, and they can choose the best player available. They could go get guys that will impact them defensively, whether it's both. If they go get Travis Hunter, remains to be seen. But you know what? In terms of the fastest route to rebuilding, I'll say the Patriots are near the top of the list.
Mm-hmm. Because they got a lot of money.
They got money and they got draft compensation.
Yep,
so.
and also, they have a quarterback that they drafted in the first round. And so you already, you got that. So you're going to build around that and let the rest of it play out.
If I had to make a guess, would you say that we would be more likely to see Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh or or Russell Wilson with the Giants?
I think Rodgers in Pittsburgh. That's gaining a lot of steam lately, to the point where I think Rodgers wants to go there now as well.
Well, you're thinking about it.
I mean,
we just signed DK Metcalf. Who's going to throw him the ball?
Exactly. That's why I think if I'm reading the tea leaves, it makes sense for Rodgers to go there. Now, Mike Tomlin is going to have to sign on for that. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Rooney family, who around the league, maybe not so much with the players, but around the league and in the NFL, the Rooneys are known as the best owners in the NFL. Are they going to sign up for Aaron Rodgers? It's a big ask. Kyle, it's a big ask.
Market's shrinking.
Yeah, it's a big ask. And, look what if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm looking what the New York Jets just did. They signed your leftovers that you didn't want. And that's the best on the market, Justin Fields. At this point, I think they're being strong-armed into taking Aaron Rodgers unless they make a trade. But at the same time, what franchise quarterbacks are available? None.
I would say they tried it with Russell Wilson. Now, their next best option is to sign up for the Aaron Rodgers experience, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. They have talent now. They have more talent than they did. But that remains to be seen. We got a lot more free agency stuff to break down. Maybe by the time we even cross over to the 5 o'clock hour, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, maybe they'll have homes by the time we do that. That's how quickly this day has been moving on the free agency side of things in the NFL. We got the general manager of the Washington Nationals, not Mike Rizzo of ESPN West Palm, but Mike Rizzo of the Washington Nationals will be joining us in just a couple of minutes here. No more Jonathan Zaslow today later in the hour, so we got a lot of fun to kind of dance around these teams. Who's having a good offseason thus far and who's having a iffy, more questionable offseason thus far, as legal tampering period is now open in the NFL, and every team is getting involved. Packers, Bears, Jaguars, Jets, everybody's kind of dipping their toes in, and these agents have this ready. So we got a lot to break down, a lot of fun to be had. Mike Rizzo of the Washington Nationals. Coming up next, it's Russo and Rizzo over on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Embark on a culinary road trip through South Florida at the 2025 Orange Bowl Food and Wine Celebration, presented by Florida Blue. An evening of foodie fun awaits on Friday, April 11th at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, with unlimited food and drink tastings from over 40 of South Florida's top restaurants and chefs, and dance the night away with the live band and DJ. Tickets start at just $125, and proceeds benefit Orange Bowl Care's community initiatives. Get your tickets at orangebowl.org.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet. Home of the Miami Heat, now the new home of Inter Miami. Catch all the games and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 106.3. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sportsbook. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey everyone, it's Cade Shumslin. Every week, Land Rover Palm Beach supports local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community by naming a Player of the Week. This year, $35,000 will be rewarded to student athletes and their schools. Tune in to ESPN West Palm High School Game Day every Friday night as I unveil this week's featured athlete. If you have a great performance that I need to know about, DM us at ESPN West Palm, Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond.
Listen up, team. Recycling is just like football. You can't win if you're out of formation. Yellow bin? That's your quarterback. Give it all the paper. Blue bin? Wide receiver. Feed it all the containers. But no interceptions. Plastic bags and greasy pizza boxes have no place on this field. Now, follow the playbook. Get out there and recycle right. Sponsored by the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County. Let's keep winning for the planet! Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
So I think this is the only time in my history of radio that even throughout the rest of my career, that I will ever be able to do this and introduce this way. Colin Russo here, Joined alongside me is Mike Rizzo, as always. And funny enough, I mean, let's introduce him as the general manager of the Nationals to start so nobody gets confused.
Yes.
But Mike Rizzo of the Washington Nationals, the general manager, joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. I got the Mike Rizzos on either side of me at the Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches on ESPN 106.3. Appreciate you giving us the time, Mike.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
So let's get a sense of this so far. Spring training for you at Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. I mean, this is going to be full throttle here, but you said it's something interesting right when you came up to us, is what's the key to you getting out of spring training, that's month of the season, getting everybody warmed up a little bit? What are the check boxes you have to hit?
You know, we want to be moving the needle moving north as we move north, and you know, keeping people healthy, preparing them for the long marathon of a season, and once we get, you know, everything that the foundation's built, then, you know, we want to see the growth going into the regular season.
You don't want to take steps back. That's the big key to this. But talk about a team that has a lot of young talent kind of making their way up here with the Washington Nationals, the outfield specifically. You got the Wood, you got Young, you got Dylan Cruz, who splashed a little bit last year and finally looking to take steps forward. Give me a sense of the young talent the Washington Nationals are looking to capitalize on the beginning part of this year.
Well, you know, they're a big part of what we're trying to do here. You know, we're young at, you know, 5 position player locations, you know, all 3 outfielders, and we've got a mix of outfielders that are set behind them to take a next step forward. You know, we've got a young shortstop, a young second baseman, a young catcher, and you know, when we filtered in some veterans around them, and you know, when you look at our starting rotation, there's you know, 5 young guys, you know, battling to go north. So, you know, we like where we're at as far as our youth movement. They all got their feet wet last year. I think we had 5 starters that started at least 29 games. 4 of them started 30 games, and 1 had 29 starts. So that was a good step forward in their development last year, and we want them to take the next step forward after that.
Now, Mike, I understand you brought some veterans in too, so that these young guys could kind of learn from some seasoned guys out there too.
Yeah, you know, it's not just the season. We want them to help us, you know, in between the white lines too. You know, we've got Nate Lowe, who came in, you know, with a great resume. He's most importantly a world champion. He's got that pedigree. You know, he's got a silver slugger in his closet. He's got a gold glove in his closet, and a guy that's really going to stabilize that young infield that we have. Paul DeYoung, who comes, you know, highly decorated in his St. Louis years. I've seen him play way too much against us, so he'll take some at bats with us this year, which will be good. He's been a stabilizing force for us, you know, defensively, and gives us some needed pop at one of the corners. And we brought in some veteran bullpen guys too, so it all helps.
How is it watching young talent that you guys acquired come up in the league, have success, and help the team with the next generation? Because you guys, you know, Soto, Scherzer, and now these guys are starting to come up and the team's coming together.
Yeah, you know, we hope that this is the core group of the next championship run that we had. You know, we had a sustained, a successful run, you know, from 2012 to 2019, culminated in the World Series. You know, 4 division titles, right, a wild card, and a World Championship. So, you know, our goal is to win, you know, championships, to sustain that high level of play, and to win games.
Mike Rizzo, general manager of the Washington Nationals, joining us. Russo and Rizzo, 2 Mike Rizzos actually, at Cacti Park at the Palm Beaches. They got a split squad game between the Nationals and the Marlins coming up a little later today. But you mentioned the 2019 World Championship team, a team that really capitalized in the second half of the year and sort of taking steps forward. But since then, it's sort of been a little bit of a rebuild. Find out with Soto shipping out, and then, you know, the Scherzer, Strasburg couldn't get healthy. Give me a sense of, are we looking towards the end of this sort of rebuild? Is this going to be time where it's sort of put up or shut up?
Well, you know, I'll just correct you one thing. It hasn't been a little bit of a rebuild. It's been a lot of a rebuild.
There you go.
And
right.
You know, the rebuild is not fun. But it's necessary. And you know, we felt it was time to recalibrate our talent base. And we think that we've done that successfully. And now, you know, it's time for the young players to blossom into, you know, everyday big league players. And again, you know, we reiterate that you know, our goal is to you know, sustain excellence and to not only be a one and done type of championship team, but be a consistent championship contributor for years to come.
Mike, being with the Nationals as long as you had, and being in the baseball industry as long as you have, what is the number one thing you've kind of learned that you got to lock into when you're a general manager? Is there something specific in the business that you got to make sure you got your I's dotted and your T's crossed?
Well, this is my 43rd spring training, and over all those years, I've had a lot of great teams. I've had a lot of great individual players, and rubbed elbows with a lot of great baseball people. What I've learned is, it's probably a very simplistic thing, but this is a players' league. The players are the utmost important thing that we have here. Now we do a lot of work with scouting and player development and analytics and all that stuff, but it all comes down to one thing: the players. Our job is to find the most talented players, but the players with best character that fit into the clubhouse and to play the game the right way. And oftentimes when you play this game the right way, the baseball gods shine down on you, and you play well, it seems. And that's what I've learned over the years. This is a players' league. You could sugarcoat it any way you want, but it's all about the players. We cater to them, and they're the most important thing that we have.
How has the market changed in terms of now 43rd spring training? It's weird that sometimes it takes a little longer than expected for some of these guys to get signed, to find homes, whether it's via free agency, whether it's the litigation process and the whole thing like that with the new agents and everything. Give me a sense of, since you kind of got started, White Sox, D-backs, even the early part of the Nationals, how that market has changed, how putting a team together has changed in the grand scope of baseball.
I don't think it's changed that much. You focus in on character players that can really play the game, and you try and surround yourself with as many of them as possible. And it starts at the grassroots level. I had long meetings with our Danny Haas, our vice president of scouting today, always talking to our player development guys, always talking to our pro scouts, and gathering information and seeing which player we could plug in that fits what we're trying to do, that would give us the smallest type of advantage on roster creation and that type of thing. And I think that the formula is very, very difficult to attain, but it's very simple: is to acquire the best players that are contributors between the white lines, in a clubhouse, in the community, and those are the best teams that we've ever had when we've had a multitude of those guys.
Mike, you've been around baseball for a long time. The transition of the game, the changing of the game, what's been the thing that stuck out to you? I mean, I'm reading it. And let me get this straight, too. You're the guy who drafted you with the Angels, Larry Himes, hired you as a scout for the White Sox, too. Is that correct?
That's
correct.
Correct.
So from your time as a scout with the White Sox until now, what's the biggest transition, in your opinion, that the game has made?
I think that the biggest transition is that we try and microwave these players, and we get the players to the big leagues faster than we've ever have in the past, and I think it's a combination of different things. It's I know myself, where you have to be very, very patient in this job, but it's difficult sometimes to be patient, and players develop at their own timetable. You can't rush it. Just because you have a hole at a certain position and you've got a good young minor league player, you can't rush him here and have him regress. So it's all about what is your blueprint for success? How do you get there? What is the timeline? And you have to have support from the top, and it's got to trickle all the way down. We all have to be on the same page. Lerner family, who owns the team, myself and Davey Martinez, we're all lockstep in what we're trying to do in this plan and in this process. And when you start seeing the fruits of your labor, that's when you have to be most patient. And I think that you've got a plan in place, and you have to stick to the process. And often at the end of that, if you can do that, the process works out for itself.
Well, you mentioned guys that are flying through the minors faster than ever has been before. Guys like Dylan Cruz is starting to make his way there. Paul Skeens, who we played with in college, he drafted in the same draft, flew through the minors as well. Bryce Harper is another one, flew through it. Give me a sense of when you know that a player is time to take steps, when you could expedite a process.
Well, I think there's no chronological age that it happens. I think that you develop as a player at your own pace, but I think there's outliers to any rule. And I think that you mentioned just a handful of those guys, but they're the outliers. And the process is that you have to hone your skills at the minor league level and be ready to play in the big leagues when you get to the big leagues. Because I often tell guys when they first come to the big leagues, there's been approximately 23,000 players that have ever played Major League Baseball. That's a very, very small community of players, and it's an honor to be here. And it's really, really difficult to get to the big leagues, but it's even harder to stay in the big leagues. And that's what these guys are looking for. Is we want long-lasting guys that can grow with the organization and be here. There's a reason that 10 years is a magic number for service time in the major leagues, is because it's very, very difficult to be a 10-year major league player, and those guys should be honored. And the players are always striving to get there.
Now, you mentioned longevity. What does it take for a player nowadays to have longevity
especially
in the MLB?
Now, it's trickier than ever, especially with arms. You got to make sure it's a lot more shorter spurt. Guys are not going 8 or 9 anymore, so it's you got to be creative with that.
And Mike, baseball in the 80s was, you had Nolan Ryan throwing until his arm fell off in the 9th inning. Now, everyone's on pitch counts. Everyone's throwing 100 miles an hour and on pitch counts, it seems.
Yeah, I think the secret to longevity is to be healthy, and that's that's a skill in itself.
Right.
Like I said, we had our alumni, some of our classic alumni players that were the Nats from years back. The Ian Desmonds of the world, the Danny Espinosas of the world, the Tyler Clippers of the world. Their greatest ability for a general manager and a manager is availability. And because they were available every day, and they were fortunate in their careers that they had the physicality to do it, the mindset to do it, and the toughness to do it. Because very rarely once you get into very early in the season, these guys are playing with nicks and bumps and bruises every day. But you have to you have to punch, as Ian Desmond always says, you have to punch the clock every day. And that's an ability that is something that we're always looking for.
Mike Rizzo, General Manager of the Washington Nationals, joining Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Retaining stars is as hard as ever. And I think the Washington Nationals, you guys have dealt with your fair share of, all right, it's going to be tricky to hold on to this. We're going to have to make a couple decisions here on who we sort of, try to get under contract, try to move on from, or let walk, whatever it may be. Has that gotten worse over the last 10, 15 years in terms of the amount of the large contracts? The disparity has gotten wider. It's got the $800 million contracts like Juan Soto across town, and then you got the smaller contracts where you got to go play year by year here. How has that sort of altered your perspective and how you manage?
It's all about roster management, and you have to know who to extend. Then you have to get a guy who wants to be extended, and you have to come up with a negotiation that allows the player to take your offer. And you always have to have plan B, C, and D if it doesn't work out. So we think that we've navigated those waters pretty effectively here. Every club goes through it, and we've run through here some pretty fascinating superstars over the last 10 years, and we've got the hardware to show for it.
Now, one thing too about that is you guys have had a lot of success, especially towards putting together a team and then sort of making your decisions as you go. But what I've been seeing as a baseball fan is somebody who wants to see parity, wants to see some, I guess, intrigue, especially when it comes to free agency. The Dodgers have kind of just taken all the chips for themselves. Is that going to change? From a general manager's perspective, can you see that changing, and do you want to see that change?
And Mike, even the deferred contracts, is that going to be the future? I think Bregman even got deferred money as well. Is this something that GMs are going to continue to use to their advantage?
Well, the answer to that is yes. They're going to use it to their advantage. But deferred contracts, this isn't something new out of the blue. This has happened for years and years and years, and teams utilize it, for their benefit. And I think that when you can get a deal that works for both people, that's the deal that gets done. And I think that. The money that you spent on players is always determined on where you're at in your roster construction and where the team is at in the standings. So I think that none of this stuff is brand new. We've been through it. We've been through it. It's certainly reported on more often.
Yeah,
and
a little bit more exploited.
Discussed more often. But it's always been there, and I don't see it going away.
Now, are there guardrails in the future in terms of how this is done?
What's done?
How free agency is done? Whether I'm alluding to maybe a cap, maybe a floor. Is that something in MLB's cards in the future?
Well, I have no idea. That's above my pay grade.
Right.
I have enough problems worrying about the Washington Nationals.
Worrying about who's going out there tonight on the mound.
Exactly. With the wind howling, just keep the ball down would be my advice tonight. But those are big. Those are global questions that will be answered with somebody higher up than myself. But we all have a game plan in mind, and it's driven from the top. And it goes down, and we all have our marching orders, and we all have our budgets, and we all have our game plan. We all have our blueprints to success, the teams that implement that blueprint best are the teams that hold the trophy at the end of the year.
Now, do you have a favorite opening day story? Obviously, we're a couple of weeks back, Mike, but do you have a funny opening day story, an embarrassing opening day story, a great opening day story? You've been around baseball for so long,
yeah.
I have to ask.
Yeah, opening day to me is the most special day of the year.
Right.
I always say, my two favorite and most important days of the year are opening day and the baseball draft. Those are the two most important days in the baseball world, and it brings me back to opening days when I was a kid. I had a transistor radio in school. I used to listen to the Cubs opening day, or sneak away from school to go to the Cubs opening day, my dad was in this game for 60 years, and opening day was always a special day for us because baseball is life for the Rizzo family, and we have a lot of fond memories of opening days.
Now, give me a sense of playing at Cacti Park at the Palm Beaches. West Palm, it's a pretty premier place to play some baseball for a month, the early part of the year.
Mike, I'll tell you what, you got a nice tan going.
Taking advantage, probably a couple tee times here and there for Mike Rizzo. But give me a sense of playing here, West Palm. You got a lot of teams that are local right here in this area. It's a little group, tight-knit group that you got comparatively. Give me a sense of that.
It's great. It's a wonderful place to prepare for the season. West Palm Beach has been great to us. They've opened their arms to the Astros and ourselves, and we've got 5 teams within 40 minutes of each other. So it's the travel is terrific, and the atmosphere here, the weather's great, and we couldn't be happier to be training in this spot.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you giving us the time here. Last thing here before we let you go, expectation for the Washington Nationals. You can't generalize it. You can't put a number to it. But in terms of, you said, a gradual upward, I guess, trajectory you'd like to see. But in terms of the expectation, what is the thing you most want to see out of your Washington Nationals?
Well, we're going to compete. We're going to compete every night, and we've got a behemoth division, and I respect all the teams in this division, and they're run flawlessly by their general managers and their executives, and they're you look at all the rankings, and they're top 5, and most of the teams are from the National League East. So it's a rough division to navigate. But to be the best, you have to play the best, and we're going to compete every night against these really good teams, and our expectation is to win that game that night.
Mike, looking forward to following the rest of the National Spring Training. Best of luck the rest of the year, and we'll hopefully speak again soon.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Rizzo and Russo. Appreciate it.
How about that? We got one Mike Rizzo. We got 2 Mike Rizzos. One, of course,
got to be Mike. Distant relatives. Got to be distant relatives somehow. Now, I will say this too, partner. When I was in college, I'd be getting some tweets from some angry fans. I put to the point where I would just start responding. It's on me. Sorry, guys, but it was one of those things I always laughed
right
about.
here.
Yeah, just tell them to tweet me at Mike Rizzo 22. I'll handle it for the true Mike Rizzo.
You're the only Mike Rizzo on social media, so you're probably getting all of them.
Got a fall guy for Mike Rizzo. We got Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Washington Nationals. Appreciate it. Looking forward to the night, and best of luck rest of the way.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Mike Rizzo, general manager of the Washington Nationals. We do some 5 at 5 coming up next. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
This spring, speed returns to South Florida. NASCAR weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. Go get it done. Green. Where high octane meets the high banks. And gear up for spring break in the fast lane. 3 races, 3 days, one unforgettable weekend in racing paradise. NASCAR weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. March 21st through the 23rd. Get your tickets now at homesteadmiamispeedway.com.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
District Fit is back Saturday, March 15th at City Place in Hilton, West Palm Beach. A full day of free fitness and donation-based programming benefiting Love Serving Autism. Get moving during classes led by elite instructors with Lululemon, Equinox, Movement West Palm Beach, 1401 Athletics, and more. Then explore Recovery Row and learn ways to recover properly with brands including Pura Vida, Sweetgreen, Anushka Spa, ESPN West Palm, and True Food Kitchen. District Fit, WPB.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Michael Manzo, owner and founder of Manzo's Italian Deli, and
Stop, Dad. After 20 years, people are tired of hearing your voice.
Yeah, and your lame-ass commercials.
Fresh prosciutto, mozzarella, outstanding.
Oh, please.
There's only one reason Manzo's is voted #1 deli in Palm Beach County for 20 years. Our mother.
She makes sure you prepare everything from scratch using only the freshest ingredients.
Manzo's Italian Deli is located on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, right next to Rain Dancers.
Is that a strip club?
No, it's a steakhouse. Manzo's is open weekdays from 8 to 5 and offers free delivery. So stop by or call 697-9411. That's 697-9411.
we also specialize in hot and cold catering for corporate functions and special events.
Just ask anyone who was at my last birthday party.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today. Don't miss out on this incredible course. And please, putt responsibly.
The new state-of-the-art showroom at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach is now open. And let me tell you, it's amazing. If you're looking for a brand new 2020 to 2025 Kia, there is something for you. Every car has so many awesome features, it will be hard to pick just one. Plus, the safety tech and that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's peace of mind in every mile. If you've been putting off car shopping, now's the time. Don't wait any longer. Get down to Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, trade keys, and drive home a new Kia today. So, which one will you choose? See my friend Lonnie Mister at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach and find out why there are more Kias on the road every day. Call 800-NEW-KIAS or Lonnie at 561-433-1511 and check us out online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, where your new Kia is waiting for you.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See kia.com or retailer for details.
Sometimes old school just sounds better, like a crisp cassette, a booming stadium chant, and ESPN radio. Stick with the station that never fumbles. ESPN 1063. No gimmicks, no nonsense, just sports the way it should be. Stay classic. ESPN 1063.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees in the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 20 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and 2023 football, lacrosse, and men's swimming and diving titles. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo. My Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, second hour of which it is March the 10th, a Monday edition of the program, a legal tampering edition with the legal tampering period in the NFL finally up and away. We had Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Washington Nationals, on previously. If you missed any of the show today, want to listen back, you can go to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places, streaming live on YouTube at ESPN West Palm and Facebook as well at ESPN West Palm as well. Little Mike Rizzo sandwich earlier with both Mike Rizzo's next to me. But we got a lot of fun to be had, especially with the 5-5 coming up. We got a lot of players that have bounced around, a lot of teams that have made a lot of moves at this early part of the period. But first, if you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, they're here to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Take it from me. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because all it takes, one phone call to take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. While we are live at the Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches, we got Christian Cat on the ones and twos keeping us up over the air. Christian, how are you today, my friend? Are you good?
Doing fantastic. Not as good as you guys at the ballpark, I'll tell you that much. I wish I was there.
Well, we just got a rainstorm pass through, too. So, but other than that, it should be pretty good. They got the field. They got the tarp covering the field right now. I think that she's just passing through.
Yep.
But Christian, anything interesting with you over the weekend? You have a normal last couple days. I haven't spoken to you in a minute.
Woke up at 6 a.m. to watch a wrestling pay-per-view that I couldn't watch live. So that was a pretty good start to the day.
You had to get up at 6 a.m. for that? How long are those?
Those are around 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
4 hours long. So yeah, watch it from 6:30 to 10:30. Shower, shave, and come into the office. That was my Monday so far.
I assume those are on Sunday nights?
Yeah, it's sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday. This one happened to be on Sunday. Girlfriend's birthday was also on Sunday, so we watched Miss Congeniality last night instead.
Nice. Good movie.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Not bad. All right, so Christian had an early wake-up for wrestling pay-per-view. Interesting. All right, nonetheless.
Wrestling.
Let's have some fun. Let's do a little 5-5.
Number 1.
Free agency has officially begun. Sam Darnold will be on his way to Seattle after him and the Seahawks agreed to a 3-year, $100.5 million contract. The Seahawks also over the weekend traded Geno Smith to Las Vegas over the weekend and now have Darnold just a couple of days later. Was this move great for Seattle?
I like it. I think it's a team-friendly deal. It sounded like it wasn't their first option, which is the most intriguing aspect of this whole thing.
Geno Smith.
They wanted Geno around, and they wanted what do you think he wanted? Probably $45 million?
Probably. And
$45 million, let's ballpark it, and they got this guy for $30-something million with 50 of it guaranteed. That, to me, is a win any day of the week for the 10-year younger quarterback.
And we'll have to see if it is an upgrade, but I believe with Kubiak and company there, obviously Kubiak was on the coaching staff at San Francisco when Darnold was there 2 years ago. I think Darnold can be really successful, as we saw last year with the Vikings winning 14 games, put in a good situation. I think it's a good situation, and I think they got the better quarterback for less money. I think it was a great move by Seattle, and I really like what Seattle's done in the offseason. We mentioned DK Metcalf, going to be a second-round pick coming Seattle's way for DK Metcalf. Absolutely love it.
Number 2.
Number 2.
You heard it here first on Theoretically Speaking. Staying with quarterbacks in the NFL, Justin Fields agreeing to a 2-year, $40 million deal with the New York Jets. This move by the Jets, desperation or forward thinking?
This is a desperate move. This is we don't have a lot of other options move, but we're going to need to put somebody under center at the very least. Also sounds like you get Justin Fields so you can kind of take a step back and think, all right, we can go a couple different directions in the draft. We don't need somebody to start day one, but you're going to need somebody. You're going to need just to please the fan. You cannot just send Justin Fields to the wolves of New York media and just let him figure it out without a backup plan. That is not going to happen. That is not going to fly. I see this exploding and New York media calling for his job pretty quickly through the season. but not a lot of people can survive in New York, in that media sphere. So I anticipate they're going to have 2 guys at least ready to rock and roll that they could go to, and you're going to be playing that game. So if you're a Jet fan, get used to it, or it's going to be another one of those years.
Yeah, and we mentioned this earlier in the show, Colin. When you have a move like Aaron Rodgers not work out, when you were all bought in on a guy like Aaron Rodgers and have it not work out, and exhausted resources, traded away a lot of things.
Rodgers is a 4-time MVP. He didn't even work out.
Right. So this is a full-on rebuild. And I like what you said to the Jet fan. Strap in, partner. Strap in. If any Jet fans are out there listening, strap in, because you're going to see a lot of Justin Fields, and to Colin's point, whoever that quarterback number 2 may be, if it's in the draft or a veteran in free agency as well. Strap in, Jets fans. It's going to be a long year.
Number 3.
Number 3.
DK Metcalf, welcome to Pittsburgh. He is officially a Pittsburgh Steeler. The Seahawks trade Metcalf to the Steelers for a 2025 second-round pick and will reportedly sign Metcalf to a 5-year, $150 million contract with the Steelers, a.k.a. $30 million per year for 5 years. Who won this trade in your eyes?
It's a lot to give up, because if you're including the salary cap allocation that is going to Metcalf, you're not getting any stretch of a bargain. You're not doing that, because now I wouldn't call it an overpay yet, but you're paying a top dollar for somebody who hasn't necessarily been a 1A receiver, the top 10, I'll put it, in the NFL. Has been a good player and is young, but it's a lot to give up. So you got to make this worth it, and the only way you're going to make it worth it is by giving somebody to throw him the ball. What is he good at? He is a otherworldly athlete, and he's great in the deep game. You're going to need to get somebody who could accommodate that and can utilize him in the deep game. So now the ball's in Pittsburgh's court. They have 2 talented receivers there, and you can go figure out who's going to be the signal caller, who's going to be the thrower, and go from there.
I also think they need a little bit on the offensive line as well, but that's another conversation for another day. I think Seattle won this trade. I understand that that's the market, right? If you're a star wide receiver, if you're a receiver that's flirting with the 1,000 yards, and to Colin's point, an absolute burner of an athlete on the downfield ball, you're going to get $100, $120 to $150 million. I personally wouldn't want my team to pay DK Metcalf 5-year $150, but fair play to the Steelers for knowing they needed a receiver, making the adjustment. They haven't been able to hit on a receiver in the draft in a long time. It looked like Claypool was going to pan out. He turned out to be a nightmare. Deontay Johnson was a nightmare. So they know they can't draft a position. They go out and get it. I think it's a good move for both, but Christian, give me Seattle, man. A second-round pick? Oh, my God, for DK Metcalf?
Number 4.
Number 4.
After requesting a trade and standing his ground multiple times, Myles Garrett agreed to a contract extension with the Cleveland Browns. He's going to make $40 million per year, becoming the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, and will stay in Cleveland. Does money just fix everything? Every gripe that Garrett had, wanted to be with the Super Bowl contender, wanted more money. Turns out it was solely about the money.
Yes, that's it. When in doubt, we say it with Chris Swager, the athletic director of Kaiser University, every time when he joins on Wednesdays. When in doubt, money. When in doubt, the checkbook clears all. If you're unhappy, if you're happy about it, the whole thing. I think this is you opened up, you give them an offer he couldn't refuse. These athletes are not that stupid. I mean, geez, they're going to take $40 million when it's thrown in front of them. So if you're going to have to deal with, 4-13 doesn't sound so bad when you got $40 million coming to you yearly.
Christian, can you tell me the guaranteed number on that story again on number 4? What's the guarantee?
123.5.
Yeah, okay. Of course he's going to stick around in Cleveland. As a diehard Brown fan, listen, I'm never going to complain about the best player on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion, on your team. I think Garrett, for at least 2, maybe 3 more years, is going to play it at an incredible level. It's going to be up to the general management and the ownership to figure things out and to get a winner out there while he's there. But at the same time, it could have been a good time to reset.
It tells you how...
Could have been a good time to reset.
It tells you how stupid of a bargaining chip that these players, when they say, I want to go play for a winner, that's the reason I'm leaving. It's not about that. It's really not about that.
Yeah.
There is a price to name your demands. That is the bottom line. And it's not really you're so desperate to play for a contender, you're that competitive, and you need to be playing competitive games. It is not that. That is what Max Crosby said. That is what Myles Garrett said. That is what DK Metcalf said. The second that contract's sitting in front of you, you get your agent in your ear telling you to sign this. all these, legacy, I need to play for a contender talk go out the window pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
But
it's great to have him back on the team.
I guess. Doesn't it feel reluctant? I don't really like that, the way this is kind of settled. I don't know.
Yeah.
I heard the Haslams didn't even want to meet with him in the whole thing.
But it's a win for the Brown GM, Andrew Berry, who needed one, Colin. He's had 37 draft picks. One of them is on a second contract.
You got bent into submission. How much of a win is that?
It's a win bringing back, in the fans' eyes. And listen, this is what Cleveland's saying as I was listening this morning and callers and whatnot. It's a win for a GM who needed a win in the worst way, and it's a win for an ownership group that needed one in the worst way as well. Personally, I would have loved the first-round picks as well.
Yeah, first-round picks. Also, what you can do with $40 million a year. And I'm not talking about signing 2 other guys. I'm talking about outbidding, for maybe 8 other guys by $5 million. You get them instead.
And I apologize if I made this about myself and my team, but if you're the Browns, you don't let players like Myles Garrett walk out of the door. A guy who went through 1-15. A guy who ownership stuck around with, who had his back on when he went Super Smash Bros. On Mason Rudolph's head. Okay? There's a lot of things that have been built into this situation. I'm hoping that it was a change of heart and not just for the money, but I know the business.
Yeah, but when he goes there and says, I don't want to be here anymore. I do not want to be in the city of Cleveland anymore. I want to be playing for a winner. I only got one contract really left in my career at essentially.
So Christian,
it's just weird how he changes his tune.
You're not buying the vision that Andrew Berry reportedly sold him on over the weekend to get him to stay in Cleveland?
Well, you're mocking that line of thinking, but you're also following it. So I'm confused with the tone because you seem too close to the situation. You're too emotionally attached to the only shining light over the past couple of years of the Cleveland Browns, and you talk about how you got to stick with that guy. Don't let him leave the building.
I think Mike is under the same assumption that the Browns are. They don't know what they want next. They don't know if they want to capitalize on this team next year and try to win something soon, or they don't know if they want to throw all the chips at the center of the table and completely reset.
Unbiased aside, you probably should have got rid of Garrett, got 2 first-round picks, and rebuilt that way and lose games.
There's a little bit of blind optimism attached to the Browns that they can figure this out.
And Colin, 2 years ago, and Christian, I understand Garrett when you said lone bright spot, but partner, this team was in the playoffs 2 years ago with one of the best defenses in the NFL when they got good quarterback play. So there is optimism there.
We'll see. Is that number 5 or was
we got one more?
Number 5.
Out of all the moves made over the weekend and today in the NFL with legal tampering now underway, what do you guys think was the best and most impactful move made so far?
I love what the Lions did in getting DJ Reed in that cornerback room. They let Carlton Davis go. They got Terrion Arnold sitting there, who was a first-round rookie last year, had an up-and-down season, but was mostly pretty good. DJ Reed's a very good player. From everybody in the Jets organization said he's a very good locker room guy, too, somebody who kind of fits the bill with the Lions. I think that's a great move. I think this Darnold move, also a very good move in terms of team-friendly. They're making their presence felt. They're changing up that team a little bit, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Just because you win 10 games doesn't necessarily mean you got to do it all over again. It means you could retool when you have the opportunity to.
Christian, for me, it's 2 things. Sam Darnold with the Seahawks, everything Colin said. Geno Smith wanted more money. They let him go. They got a 3rd-round pick. And in my opinion, they got a better quarterback in Darnold for less money. So the Seahawks, and then listen what the Bears have done to the offensive line. Braxton Jones, your left tackle. Obviously, he was there last year. Joe Thuney, new acquisition. Drew Dalman, new acquisition. Jonah Jackson, new acquisition. And Darnell Wright, their first-round pick from Tennessee 2 years ago. The Bears are building out that offensive line. And I know I'm hard on Caleb, and I know Colin damn near wants to strangle me when I talk Caleb Williams in his rookie year. But one thing's for certain is that Ryan Poles is trying to learn from his mistake from last year of getting all these shiny new cars and wide receivers and running backs and forgetting about the most important thing for a young quarterback, the offensive line. Those are my 2 favorite moves so far in the tampering period and whatnot.
I think it's interesting how, if you're thinking about this from the Commanders' perspective, to loop them into the conversation really quick, is the Commanders were very successful last year in getting a lot out of aging veterans on 1-year contracts. Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, they got Marshawn Lattimore, who's on the older side. And then what they do in the offseason, they sort of capitalized on it even further. They went and traded for Deebo Samuel, who is not young in wide receiver age. They just traded for Laramie Tunsil, who's been around the league for a while. Not a lot of people love him in Houston because of the penalties and everything, but he's still a pretty good tackle at that. They just signed Javon Kinlaw, somebody who's a veteran who just put together a very healthy season for the first time in his career. So I think it's very interesting how the Washington Commanders have handled this. They've sort of tried it all over again. Let's get more, aging's not the right word, but aged veterans in the mix. And instead of the youth movement that maybe you're under the impression that they had, they let Diami Brown walk. The Commanders said, let's keep doing what has worked. They re-signed Bobby Wagner. They got more guys back in the mix here because it worked last year. So why mix it up and sort of maybe they think they found a formula. But that was our 5 at 5 with Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, and Colin Russo. We're at Cacti Park at the Palm Beaches where we got the Washington Nationals in a split squad game against the Miami Marlins coming up in just a couple hours. And we'll see. It's supposed to be an hour, but we'll see because we are in a torrential downpour at the moment on the concourse here at this Cacti Park. So we'll see. They get the tarp out on the field. But in the meantime, if you're looking for something to do at this time of the year, what better way to spend your time than go over to Cacti Park. We'll see if this game happens tonight or if it's a rain out. But they got the Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros here, so they got a lot of teams coming into town. Some of the biggest stars in baseball. They had the Yankees here over the weekend. The Mets came into town over the weekend. A lot of talent, a lot of big stars, a lot of fun. They got Bark at the Park night. They got fireworks. They got family 4-packs that you can take advantage of. Go spend your afternoon in an easy commute into Cacti Park in West Palm Beach. I was here last Saturday. I'm looking forward to coming back at some point this week and then just going to enjoy some baseball. Get your fix in. This is baseball weather for the rest of the country, and luckily South Florida has it all the time. So go over to cactipark.com to get some tickets today. They're available. Go get a family 4-pack. Go to Bark at the Park night. I don't even have a dog. I might go to that just because I'm so intrigued at Bark at the Park night. But we roll on here. We take a time out here. Back after this, it's Russo Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Experience the thrill of Formula One in Miami from May 2nd through the 4th. For the first time, one-day grandstand tickets are available. Starting at just $65, it offers all the flexibility you need for your schedule. Do you want the best value for your weekend? Grab a 3-day grandstand ticket and catch every moment of the on-track action all weekend long. Choose your vantage point all over the track with the breathtaking views of all the action. Visit F1MiamiGP.com to explore grandstand options and secure a spot at the 2025 Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix. The race that's an experience.
course. The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today. Don't miss out on this incredible course. And please, putt responsibly.
Introducing the bold, the powerful, the all-new 2025 Range Rover Sport P360 SE. A luxury SUV that commands attention with its refined design, dynamic performance, and cutting-edge technology. Lease the 2025 Range Rover Sport for just $12.99 per month for 36 months. Drive in style, power, and comfort, all for just $12.99 a month. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take the new Range Rover Sport for a spin. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Is your air or water flowing perfectly in your home? If the answer is no, EDS is yes. Theo here, and for me, EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing is my go-to, and it should be yours too. EDS is Palm Beach County's trusted AC and plumbing expert. They'll make sure your air and water flow perfectly. EDS is a train comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. Go to edsisyes.com. That's edsisyes.com. When comfort matters, EDS is yes.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, rolling on with Colin Russo and Mike Rizzo. We got a bit of a torrential downpour going on here at Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches, where the Nationals and the Marlins are slated to have a split squad matchup in just under an hour, essentially. So we'll see what happens there. Looks like this rain is looking to pass here in the next few minutes. You can start to see some daylight. But Christian Cat back at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Go kick off your day with a victory over at F45 downtown West Palm Beach and locations in Wellington as well. F45, more the functional side of working out, more of go in, get a sweat in, get your heart rate up, high intensity interval training. You go, it's class style. You got 2 coaches on site. You got the exercises on the screens in front of you. You kind of just go in, turn your brain off, do it. You blink and it's over. 45 minutes later, classes all throughout the morning and the afternoon. Like-minded fitness individuals go there, so all of a sudden in before and after classes you got people talking, chatting, having a good time, sharing laughs, and more importantly getting in good shape over at F45. Get your first 3 classes for $30. Or if you want to train for something like High Rocks and do an actual race style, they're the place that could really accommodate that. So go take a look. Go find the nearest studio to you, F45 online, and go check out their Instagram, F45 Downtown West Palm Beach on Instagram. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. The first legal tampering period in the NFL in terms of now all these guys essentially are making their contract signs. Guys are jumping around all over the league. And, Mike, I'm curious for you, is there a team that has gotten worse?
A team that has gotten worse. You wonder about the Vikings. And I say that because they let a quarterback go that they know works in their system, that they know had success and won 14 games last year, and you're banking on kind of an unknown. Now, you drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round because you believe in him.
You got to use the guy eventually.
You got to use him eventually. But my early initial reaction is Minnesota going to take a step back without Sam Darnold and with J.J. McCarthy? I'd probably have to go with the Vikings at this point.
You got to think, too, that's not that expensive of a contract.
Right.
You think Darnold would have accepted a $90 million over 3 years with 55 of them or
probably
50 of them guaranteed? He probably would have.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the Vikings really just want, at this point, from the contract that Seattle gave Darnold, the Vikings really wanted J.J. McCarthy's season. Colin, I think I might know where your head's at on this one. I'm going to guess yours is the Eagles after they got a couple of their pieces plucked from their defense.
Now, see, the Eagles were creative because they definitely paid the right guys. They paid Zach Bond, and they paid Saquon Barkley. They couldn't get Milton Williams $26 million a year to the Patriots. I cannot sit here and say that was worth it. They let Darius Slay walk. Darius Slay going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So do I think they've gotten worse? I don't think that's the right phrase because ask me after the draft on them because that is a team that drafts as good as anybody. So ask me after the draft on them. But, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, weirdly enough, they've gotten better on paper, but I'm not really sure how much I think this Raiders experiment is going to work out.
Now, is it more or less Geno Smith's clock ticking? Is it more or less maybe saving some of that money they gave Max Crosby?
That's really what I'm curious for.
Realistically, if I'm being completely honest.
What are you looking for, 8 wins?
I think they're looking for a possible playoff push, which I think is ridiculous in that division. Would you agree? Yeah. With the Broncos making the playoffs last year, with the Chargers making the playoffs last year, the Chiefs.
It's almost like they're trying to retool, not rebuild.
Yeah.
And is that the right move if you're the Las Vegas Raiders at this point in terms of what's around you, how good the AFC is, and what you don't have locked down?
Let me compare the Raiders to the Browns for a second, because the Raiders don't really have the defense and the good players that the Browns have, but they're acting like they're a couple of pieces away. They are acting like they were a quarterback away from competing. And I understand quarterback fixes a lot of your problems, right? You can focus on different things. They can focus on getting a running back, a wide receiver.
Well, you're not hiring Pete Carroll to spearhead a rebuild.
That's why I think. And with Tom Brady in the building, I've asked you for a week straight now, is Brady trying to redo what the Buccaneers did with him in Tampa Bay? I'm starting to think that's more of the case, and them trying to retool and add and win now. And I think they're looking at the Commanders. And I understand a lot of things happened with the Commanders. They found their rookie quarterback, new head coach. Everything worked out for them. But I think teams that are on the back end in the NFL right now are going, It could be a quick turnaround if you get things right. We have the right people in the building with Brady and Spytek and Carroll, and we're going to make the right moves and go for a playoff push. That's, I think, their mindset.
The Seahawks are doing what the Raiders should be doing, better than what the Raiders are doing. They have put together a little bit of an offseason here where they didn't necessarily overpay top-tier money to certain players. They let DK Metcalf walk. They got something out of him. They didn't let him walk. They traded him, got something out of it. They got something out of Geno Smith, a third-round pick in return for that. And you hired a bargain at quarterback. If you're sitting here and thinking, all right, well, what's the ultimate bargain type of deal that a quarterback can get? And you look right at Baker Mayfield and what he did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If that was really Darnold's price, if that was the number that Darnold was willing to agree on, especially with the guaranteed money, the $55 million instead of the $100 million that Kirk Cousins would garner and receive, I don't know where I see if that was sitting there. Why didn't the Raiders go after him? You wouldn't have to give up a draft pick. He's younger. He's a little bit more available. To me, I think in terms of a bridge, that's a better option.
It probably is. And a lot of these teams, Colin, there are a plethora of teams that are in need of a bridge quarterback right now. The Jets feel like they secured their bridge quarterback. You're obviously going to need to address that position long-term eventually. But I think the Jets understand that winning games might not be in their best interest next year because they want a draft pick. Now, it's in their best interest of the fans. If you're a Jet fan, you have no hope. But these teams that need quarterbacks, specifically with the Steelers, too. The Steelers have an opportunity. Every year it seems like those Pittsburgh Steelers are 10-2. Every year it seems like they're 9-3 with the rest of the way, with an AFC North title inbound, with maybe a bye in the playoffs, and something always goes awry, and it's because of that quarterback position. A lot of teams are pressured right now to fix the quarterback position. Colin, there aren't many options right now that are left, especially with Darnold off the board and even Geno Smith, like we've brought up in shows past. Hey, you could trade for a guy. Listen, with Geno off the board, who are you going to trade for? What franchise quarterbacks are available?
I think there's an important criteria in terms of what these teams do. There's 3 things you could do. You could retool, you could refuel, or you could rebuild. Those are the 3 things that each team has to kind of ask themselves and determine, all right, well, here's the 3 umbrella categories. Are we going to retool like the Seattle Seahawks? Are we going to rebuild like the New England Patriots? Or are we going to, I guess, refuel and see what works and what doesn't like the Commanders and the Eagles do? Now, to me, the Seattle Seahawks are doing a good job at retooling. Are the Commanders doing a good job? Let's segue this really quick because I'm thinking about refueling. And if you have to be good to refuel because, all right, what you have works. Let's just fill the car up again and try it all over again. The Commanders have done this. They've added a couple pieces. They added some more veteran presences throughout that roster. They let certain guys walk. Diami Brown walk out the door. They let Jonathan Allen walk, but they replaced them in some capacity in different spots. Have they done a good job in your head at refueling?
Yeah. And you've mentioned in shows past, too, of the Commanders being an older team as well.
And they just got older.
But the important thing is they're young at the good position, and that is quarterback. They're they're young at the most important position, and you hope Jaden Daniels, we've seen quarterbacks of Christmas goes past struggle in that year two, struggle with that sophomore. C.J. Stroud, listen, the Texans made the playoffs last year and had a great season as far as maybe fandoms are concerned or whatever, but Stroud struggled. Are we going to see that from Jaden Daniels? I think these are moves to make the roster better, but also kind of have a contingency plan of, hey, if Jaden does maybe take a few steps back next year, we're going to be a good enough football team and a veteran football team to where we're going to be able to overcome that. That's what I'm looking at. It's maybe not 1A, Colin, but I think they know that they struck gold that first year. And I hate to say this because they were such a pleasant surprise last year. You hate to lose the way that they did because you never know the next time you're going to be back. You never know the next time you're going to be back in a position like that to go to a Super Bowl. So
I can't say I love it. I can't say I love it.
Because they got older? Because
Deebo
they got older?
Samuel your answer?
Debo.
Was Debo the difference between them and the Eagles last year?
Hear me out on Debo. Debo, the thing with him is his availability. You know, we talked to GM Mike Rizzo of the Washington Nationals. He brought up something fascinating about players is health and availability. It's the most important thing. And it's the most important thing anybody can offer to a company. I understand that he's going to make Jaden Daniels a better quarterback, but I wonder if he's going to be able to get onto the field. I like what they already have on the roster, too. Jaden was able to make it work with Terry McLaurin and maybe not so the star receivers we're used to seeing with star quarterbacks. I think it's a case where Jaden Daniels elevated people around him. Let's give him another receiver to where he's not going to have to elevate and things are going to get better. Christian, we have breaking news, partner? Breaking news?
Breaking news on ESPN 1063 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire. If your vehicle has issues with braking or other issues, get it fixed right now at St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
If you thought the Cleveland Browns were going to go quarterback at number 2 in the 2025 NFL Draft in the first round, think again because they have just traded for a veteran Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Don't say it.
Kenny Pickett is a Cleveland Brown. Kenny Pickett goes to the Browns for a 2025 fifth-round pick and quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Colin, I can't lie. I had no idea. We've been doing the show. My phone's been on D&D. I thought Christian was going to say Aaron Rodgers. Christian, you set that up.
I thought it was going to be Russell Wilson.
You hooked me so hard on Aaron Rodgers, partner. That was good. That was good by you. Yeah, they're still going to draft a quarterback. Kenny Pickett ain't it. He ain't it, mate.
Giving him a fifth-round pick for your backup?
He ain't it. He ain't starting. I'll tell you that.
He's a Super Bowl champion.
Stop it. As a riding pine and carrying a clipboard and holding up note cards. That's what I'm working with.
Are the Browns retooling, refueling, or rebuilding?
Refueling, sadly. Colin,
refueling what?
Colin,
like a 1998 Civic?
You hit the nail on the head with me. You know me better than I know myself sometimes. I don't know I don't know what I want from this Browns team. I don't know if I want them to compete. I don't know if I want them to rebuild. These moves that they're making are sounding like they're going for it. That's why I said refuel. They're
hiring
mind,
a stable backup.
In their mind, they think that last year was an anomaly. They got battered with injuries, and they did. They were injured. Outside of Myles Garrett, that team was injured. They took advantage of a bad season. They have a high draft pick, and they're going to try to get a quarterback and make this work. I don't know. Kenny Pickett certainly ain't it. I still think they're going to take a quarterback, but you hit the nail on the head with me, man. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I want from this team.
I don't think the Browns could tell you either.
I don't know.
I think if you ask Kevin Stefanski, he'd say, let's rebuild. I think if you ask Andrew Berry, the general manager of the team, he'd say, let's refuel. And I think if you ask the owner of the team,
he wants Super Bowl.
The Haslam's wouldn't even answer your calls. So
they direct you to Andrew Berry.
They direct you to Andrew Berry and says what he says goes.
What do you? So you think full on rebuild?
I don't think they. I could not give you an answer because I don't think they could give you an answer.
So I'm sold on it's fool's gold. That roster is a bit of fool's gold.
You're getting Myles Garrett under contract for $40 million a year to what? Rebuild?
Was I not on this 2 weeks? I told you this team was going to go for it.
I like this little criteria we came up with: retool, refuel, or rebuild. And if you're one of the, at least if you know which one of the three you are, I think you're in good shape. So I think there's a lot of teams that are retooling.
We're R&R. This is R&R.
Yeah, retool, refuel, rebuild.
Welcome to R&R.
Browns couldn't tell you. The Seahawks, I think, are retooling. And then something like the Patriots, a little bit of a rebuild. And then I even think the Lions are retooling a little bit, too.
What about the Jets?
That's rebuilding.
I think we need to come up with a different pun, but I understand.
Yeah, they are rebuilding. Jacksonville Jaguars, they're retooling. Weirdly enough.
All right, hang on. You've been all over me about my team. What's going on there?
They're retooling. That's it. I can give you that. They got like a 19-year-old the general manager in James Gladstone, the guy from the Rams.
I think he's like 2 years older than me.
Yeah, he's young. And but they just got a bunch of journeymen today. Low contracts, not investing a ton of money into certain spots. So that's all.
They got rid of Kirk. They got rid of a couple of bad contracts.
Right move. I wouldn't call it a bad contract. They just didn't want to pay him. They're retooling. That's what Jacksonville's doing. We'll take a time out here on the flip side of things. Finish off our free agency discussion. Go into what happened in the NBA over the weekend. You had both the leading MVP candidates face off, in which the Thunder remained triumphant. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had an excellent game. We'll get into that. LeBron going to be out for 2 weeks. A lot to go into on the NBA side of things. Stick around for it. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar and Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation, 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach. This spring, speed returns to South Florida. NASCAR weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. Go get it done. Where high octane meets the high banks. And gear up for spring break in the fast lane. 3 races, 3 days, one unforgettable weekend in racing paradise. NASCAR weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. March 21st through the 23rd. Get your tickets now at homesteadmiamispeedway.com.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in. We begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
Saturday, April 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Kaiser University's flagship campus transforms into the ultimate auto showroom. The Kaiser University Auto Show of the Palm Beaches with vehicles from nearly every manufacturer. Enjoy a relaxed, no-pressure environment to find the car of your dreams. Plus, it's free. Saturday, April 5th at 2600 North Military Trail, West Palm Beach. Call 561-478-5500 or visit residential.kaiseruniversity.edu for details.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Close out the program here on a Monday edition of the program, March the 10th, 2025, live from Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with you as always. Had a packed program today. We had Mike Rizzo, the general man, not this Mike Rizzo, but the general manager of the Washington Nationals on earlier in the show. If you missed any of that, you can listen back on Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. The NBA had a packed weekend. The NBA is actually having a very good schedule right now. They had Lakers-Celtics over the weekend. Lakers-Knicks was a very good game. On Thursday, you had Thunder-Nuggets yesterday. You had Thunder and the Suns. I mean, in the Nuggets and the Suns when Jokic had 31, 22, and 21 on Friday. So a lot going on with the NBA.
And you also had a team finish a game with 7 guys.
You got the Mavericks, who are what happened to the G League guys? There's 100 guys. We're talking about expansion because there's too many guys in the G League. Call them up.
Did you see the collision between, and I forget their names. Sorry for the no context, Christian. I know it drives you crazy. There were two Mavericks players who collided with each other.
I did not see
and
this
that's
play.
why it went down to 7. It's like, dude, what can go wrong will go wrong for that team.
Dark cloud. Go get started and download the Hard Rock Bet app today on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, hardrock.bet online to get started. Because you got the NBA, you got mid-major conference championship week in college basketball. So if there's a reason, if you're looking at Bradley Drake and you're looking to see what's going on and who's going to steal a bid, this is bid stealing season, and I absolutely love it. So you're going to be watching this stuff anyway on ESPN throughout the week before the big conferences get started this weekend. So you might as well go get started and sprinkle a little action on Hard Rock Bet. Check out the Discover page. You can see what other users are putting together in terms of parlays or what promo picks they're taking, what profit boosts they're taking advantage of. You can check that out, or if you're the sophisticated gambler that likes to put something together yourself, you could do that as well. Put as little as $1 and put together a parlay on Hard Rock Bet. Try it now. Get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay, can be a prop, can be the over, whatever you like to bet in a game you choose. Win that first bet, get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in front of the wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
I meant to ask, how'd brother Timmy fare in that Big Sky? I did not.
They won the first game, and they beat Eastern Washington. They played well. And yesterday at 10 p.m., they played Montana, who was the second seed in the Big Sky
tournament. They're a powerhouse.
Tournament.
They come out of that usually.
And it was close. It was swing for swing the whole game, and then they went completely cold. In the last 5 minutes, they lost by about 10 points. But that game, it was 31-30 at halftime. Northern Arizona was leading. Their best player had 16 at half. He had 27 in the game with 10 minutes to go. They got burned there because they actually played pretty well. They just went cold. They went like 4 of 16 from 3. So Northern Arizona's out. That was their only opportunity to go dancing.
But now Timmy gets some, and by the way, this is Colin's older brother. He is the second assistant for Northern Arizona. He gets some time off. He
does not get some time off. That's not how that works. He gets 2 weeks off in May. That's the only time college basketball guys get off.
Time out.
He'll be going to the Final Four. He's probably recruiting right now in the circuits as well.
All those guys go to the Final Four.
Every coach. It's like Radio Row for college basketball coaches.
Fair enough.
It's Radio Row for college basketball coaches.
Now it's like what's the word on the town? Who's
you
transferring?
hear about that? You got to make connections with coaches, other jobs, whole thing. So everybody plays.
Got 2 weeks. So let me get this straight. If you're a college basketball coach, you get 2 weeks off.
Yeah, and then you get 2 weeks of dead period in August as well. So those are the 4 weeks a year that you kind of get to chill out. The rest of that, you're kind of traveling.
I was hoping to see Timmy. We'd go to a game at Cacti Park.
He's not coming here. If he's going home, he's going to Connecticut to play golf. He's not coming down here. Weirdly enough.
This is the best place to play golf.
Yeah, Tim, do I have somewhere to sell you
Christian,
on?
this is the best place to play golf.
He's not coming down here. But in the meantime, NBA had a big weekend. NBA seems like there's a big game every 5 seconds now.
Can I say, though, that Celtic-Laker game stunk. That game stunk.
Yeah, the Celtics dominated them.
It was a miss, and that was a chance for the league.
They match up very well with them, and they have Doncic's number a little bit. Doncic even didn't play terrible in the game. They just didn't let him completely take over the game.
Agreed. What do you make of my Cavaliers? You buying in yet? 14 wins good enough for you boys?
Yeah, they've played well. Again, it's the Celtics' league. It's the Celtics' league, and I think Cavaliers are probably the second fiddle to that. But, I mean, based on what I saw on the weekend.
So let me get this straight. I'm on the Titanic playing the fiddle and then just waiting for the ship to go down?
You might be.
And the Celtics are on the lifeboat?
Yeah, you might be the chef on the Titanic.
But we've won 14 in a row, and I'm still in the orchestra on the deck.
Yeah, I mean, listen, has anything changed for you?
Christian, I'm bought in, baby.
Yeah, get ready for disappointment.
Wow. Get ready, because it's the Celtics league.
Really? All right, I'm giving you a chance. It is March 10th. Mike Rizzo is officially bought in on his team winning a championship. You guys are out.
All right. So they've beaten the Magic. They had a good stretch of games. They beat the Knicks and the Celtics. They've beaten the Nets. They beat the Raptors, who stink. They beat the Wizards. They beat the Trailblazers, the Bulls, the Heat, the Hornets, and the Bucks far in March.
Bucks, Knicks, and Celtics. Come on. Come on.
Let's throw the parade. Drop the balloons.
Celtics minus 135 on Hard Rock Bet to win the East.
That's crazy. Christian,
I don't know about favorite.
God,
I mean, yeah. I mean,
right,
what I saw over the weekend,
maybe
and I watched that Lakers-Celtics game, and from what I saw, They're completely equipped to take down Doncic. That team, it's a tough place to play, and they're deep, they're consistent, they're good defensively. That team is the team to beat. And in terms of what I saw yesterday, how about Jokic on Friday night?
Yeah.
31, 22, and 21, which is an absurd stat. Like, I saw Kevin Durant postgame throwing backhanded compliments, saying, well, he has the ball in his hands every possession. Surprise, Kevin. Other than you, every star in the NBA has the ball in their hands the entire game. And he was able to put up that type of stat line. It was almost like, it changed the odds of the MVP by like 200 points on Hard Rock Bet and all those avenues. And then they played on Sunday, and Gilgeous-Alexander outplayed Jokic. So it's very strange how it's as neck and neck of a race as I think it's been in a long time.
Did he drive you nuts going to the free throw line 8 times?
I was traveling during the game. I didn't see a lot of it, so
I listened. So I actually listened to the game because we had the Inter Miami radio network, and I listened to it on the way to Fort Lauderdale, and then I listened to it all the way up until we went live. Alexander was unconscious at the end of that game. Now 2 for 11 from 3. I'll say this: he's not a good three-point shooter, Colin. He's like a 34%, 33% three-point shooter. Now, back in the day, if you shot 30% from 3, you were a god. But nowadays, if you're not damn near 40%, people are starting to ask some questions.
The thing with the Thunder is they've been very good against the best teams in the NBA. They've beaten everybody that's good.
Yep.
And that is
but you worry
that's a very good, I guess, reputation to have.
You worry about the second fiddle to Alexander. Because they got Holmgren, Williams. I like Dort. He's more a defensive guy.
It's a bunch of young guys.
They don't have the Luka to LeBron or LeBron to Luka, the Tatum to Brown or Brown to Tatum. You know what I mean? It's like
if he's not on, and Gilgeous-Alexander's been ultra consistent. If he's not on, do they have somebody that could take up the reins there? Even when LeBron didn't go, they had somebody.
Probably Jalen Williams.
And again, a good player.
Unproven.
Is he a great player?
They were in the playoffs last year. They did. It's like they do have
playoff
wrong. Experience. It did. But what do we always say? You got to lose first, right? You got to lick your wounds first. I think they're ready. I think they're ready to compete. I do. I think it's still a 3 race. It's a 3-team race with the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Thunder. Did you come off the Lakers a little bit in the West after they got dismantled by Boston?
No, because LeBron left the game in the fourth quarter. He's got a groin injury, so he's out for a little bit. No, am I worried about it? No. That's what the NBA needs, in my opinion. A Lakers-Celtics final would be great.
All right, Colin. I got their names wrong. That's for some context. The last time we were here at Cacti Park, the president mascots came out, and I couldn't get their names.
Don't they race these guys?
They do. Our guys are back. They're back. Yes, you. I'm pointing. What president? What pride? You got to guess the president.
They got stilts on?
Hang on. Cade Chumslin and I got these names wrong. So, partner, turn around. I know your name.
Hoover?
Okay, 1 for 1. And who's this?
What is this, Bill?
Bill, number 27.
Will McKinley?
No. One more guess.
Bill.
Is it short for something?
It's not William, probably, right?
Yes.
It's not McKinley.
Nope. Taft.
Big old Will
But how about
Taft.
you? You knew Hoover off the bat. I did not know these guys the last time.
You can't do Bill. There's been
like
there's been 3 William presidents. There's been Will McKinley. There's been Bill Clinton. I don't know. You can't do Bill Taft, too. This guy's not a president. Who's this guy?
That's Screech.
Screech?
Yeah, it's Screech.
Who's Screech?
He's the other mascot.
Are you a president, too, Screech?
No, he's their bald eagle. He's their bald eagle.
Oh, I see.
My sir, yes.
I don't understand why
I told you, I love bald eagles.
We got the mascots with the Nationals here at Cacti Park at the Palm Beach with us. Why is he Bill? You got to go Taft.
William Taft.
Makes you Bill Taft. We know that you're
His
Taft.
friends called him Bill.
There's a lot of presidents who were called Bill. That's the problem. Herbie,
friends,
there's no other Herbie. There's no other Herbie. That's Herbie alone. I like Herbie. I don't know if I trust Bill. You can't be Bill Taft. That doesn't make any sense.
But what about Screech?
I don't even know what Screech is doing here. You got to be a president.
Eagle.
You got to be a president.
He's their fearless bird. I told you. Remember we were at the Peoria Zoo? I love the bald eagles. Remember that majestic bird?
I agree.
It's a majestic bird.
That didn't look like a bald eagle to me. It doesn't have the head. You got to see the head.
But it's got the gray feathers and the yellow nose, the beak. Sorry, not nose, beak.
The thing about Taft is he's got the iconic mustache.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to learn something and you look at the back You know what's interesting, too?
What's that?
31, 31st President of the United States.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said.
27th President of the
Did you
United
not
States.
hear me? I said, look at the numbers.
Oh.
Cade and I, Colin, it took me 5 minutes to figure out who the hell these guys were. I felt that Mrs. Yates, my fourth grade history
I didn't
teacher,
even
would
make
have
that. I
disowned
didn't even
me.
make that. I didn't
Yeah.
even make that. That would have
Yeah.
helped me with Bill Taft because
Yeah.
I was thinking McKinley.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
Cade, and how about this? Cade is a young kid like you. He started doing the song, the president's song. I was dying laughing. I was dying laughing. He goes, Mike, there's a song, and he started going with the song. I'm like, dude, I'm like 30 years separated from school.
I don't know. I don't even know the song. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo with you. It's been Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Looks like we're going to have some baseball underway here soon with a split squad matchup between the Nationals and the Marlins. Coming up, we got Screech, we got Herbert Hoover, and we got Big Bill Taft over here in front of us as the mascots at Cacti Park with the Nationals showing off. Big thanks to Christian Cat keeping us up over the airs on ESPN 106.3. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 4 to 6. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo with you. It's been Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.